All right, here we go. Look at all this stuff. All this stuff. All right, so we'll jump right in. The company that I oh, hold on. You gotta have a whiskey coke when you build a computer. It's a rule. It's a rule of mine. All right, here we go. Look at all this stuff. All this stuff. Okay. All right. So we have this. Everything that's on the table here is what's going in the computer. We got a CPU, Ryzen 5 3600X. That was I think 209, but a package deal with the motherboard here, so we saved 20 bucks on the combo of them. The motherboard is just a mini ATX form factor board. It has basically the potential for 8 or 10 USB ports, which it being a workstation computer, a lot of peripherals. You know, you've got, in this case, this is a register computer, so it's going to have barcode scanners, it's going to have receipt printers, it's going to have, what else we got over there? Register, like the cash drawer, all that good stuff. So, need a lot of USB ports on them. Right here, this is what makes today's computers super fast right here. That is a solid state M.2 hard drive. And you'll see when I take it out that literally the hard drive is just this little piece right here. The days of mechanical drives, I mean, those are just to hold data, you know, photos, videos, whatever. But yeah, when you use an M.2 as a boot drive, your computer, instead of booting up in 5 minutes, boots up in 30 seconds. So yeah, that's what we'll be using today. Let's see. This guy right here is power supply 500 watts. Total overkill for what we're doing. But nowadays it's really not even cost effective to get anything less than that. The power supplies work better when you don't tap them out on their power output. You'll see on the side here, move this. You'll see it says that 80 right there, 80% efficiency. So as long as they're a lot more efficient when you're not running 500 watts out of this thing, or even 475 watts. So, I mean, today this system here, I can't imagine this system here pulling more than 200 watts max with everything that's going to be going through it. So we'll be good there. Right here we have thermal compound. Been building computers for about 20 years, and we'll get more into this. This thermal compound here will replace what's on the stock cooler. They come with a paste on the stock cooler that, without getting into too much detail, you have to have some type of compound in between your heat spreader on the processor, which I'll show you, and the cooler. If you don't, they'll overheat. So the stuff that comes on them, obviously, they try to keep it as cheap as they can. So I use Ectotherm, which is basically made by EKWB, and they made all the water cooling stuff that's in my current computer, my big one, my fast one. So yeah, and then we have this guy right here. This is literally, I think this was like a $40 video card. Not for gaming by any means. You might be able to do a little bit of photo editing. I don't really do that. But this is basically just to get a picture on the monitor. That's all we need. Picture on the monitors. So it's got the nice thing about this. Let me turn it around, see if y'all can see it. If you can see, if I get this close enough, if you see, we have right here the old style VGA adapter. I believe 15 pin. I don't remember. It's been a while. That one's not really used much anymore. However, it will be used in our case because that's how our monitors at the register are currently hooked up. Then right over here we have the HDMI. That's what most people would use. And then this is DVI. That kind of never really took off from what I saw. still an analog connection. So the only digital connection is your HDMI. You really want to use that if you can. All right, then we have memory. Normally I would use 2 sticks of memory. This is a G.Skill Aegis memory, kind of like a value memory, but still really good. 3000 megahertz at cast latency C16. That's fast. I mean, it's good. So this is normally $43.99. This was on hella sale. I should have had the receipt here with me. This was super cheap, super cheap. And with DDR5 coming out soon, they're only going to get cheaper. So generally it's best to run 2 of these sticks, especially since motherboards support dual or even quad channel memory now. And to run a dual channel, which is basically like having a highway during rush hour that's twice as wide as what it currently is, you can imagine what that does. But in this case, this will be fast enough. Register computer, don't need it. So we're doing 1 for now, and then once DDR5 becomes more mainstream, we'll probably be able to pick one of these guys up for about 10 bucks at some point. And when that happens, we'll do that. So 8 gigs, more than enough. And this guy right here, just an additional fan. The case that we're using, which is a Thermaltake Versa H17, nothing fancy, comes with 1 fan, which is usually in an exhaust orientation, which is good. But I like to add an intake fan, so keeps the internal temps cool, because you need it cool in there for the CPU to stay cool. This is the highest performing part in this system right now. Really good CPU right there. All right, then we have razor blade. Some jokes there, we'll leave that one alone. Q-tips, and I have rubbing alcohol. I only had a little bit left, went out to try to get some, couldn't find it. Went to Giant and found these, and was super skeptical about this. It says 70% alcohol, does not say 75%. Does not say 75% isopropyl alcohol. I opened these up. This is some grain alcohol smelling stuff, man. Like, it's crazy. I'm gonna try not to use these. So, all right, now we can start clearing all this off, and we're gonna get started. Man, I love these hard drives. These are cool. All right. So, SATA cables, if you're not using an M.2 drive like what I was just showing, this is what would connect your standard solid state drive, or some mechanical hard drives as well. We're not using this today. We are using the main board here. And there should be, let me see, there should be, yes, the I/O panel. This guy. So that'll go in the case, but then I love how they include this paper right here. This disc right here, we're not really gonna need this. I throw these out. You go to the website, in this case, it's Gigabyte? Yeah, Gigabyte. We'll just go to their website and we'll download chipset drivers, BIOS update. We're gonna do all that. So we're good there. We don't need these. Most of the time those are outdated anyway. Alright. Now, one key thing I want to point out here too is, if you can see, it says AMD Ryzen 3000 desktop ready. If this was not on this board, then we would have to use a USB flash, or basically we would have to update this BIOS on this board. Luckily, I do have spare computer parts, of course, and I have a CPU I could have put in here if needed. To get the BIOS updated, then I would have to take that CPU out, which is an old 2600 Ryzen CPU, then install the new one. So luckily, motherboard manufacturers are updating the BIOS on these boards automatically before they're hitting the retailers, which is a huge, huge bonus to anybody building a computer. Makes it super easy. So, and actually, before we start this here, we're going to do something else here. USB flash drive. We could assemble this whole computer, but we're going to need a way to get Windows on this computer. I have not built a computer in the last probably, I don't know, 10 years that's had a optical drive, CD-ROM drive, none of that. We don't use them. None of my computers at work that I've built have had them, and none of mine have. So we need to get Windows 10 on this. The good thing about Windows 10 is you don't have to have the key. I don't have our Windows 10 key with me right now. I'll end up typing that in later when I hook it up at work. So what we're going to do is we need to get Windows 10 on this here. And I'm going to make my desktop visible so everybody can see how to do that. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to get back to motherboard stuff. So make sure your flash drive is in. And then let me switch. See if I can't. Oops, wrong button, guys, wrong button. Let's do this. Yeah, here we go. So now you guys can see the desktop down here. I'm going to go ahead and stretch that out a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're at this Google's page here. And all you need to do is type like Windows 10, oops, Windows 10, bootable USB. Here it is. So we have that. Here we go. You can tell I've already been here probably when I built my computer. Go to this. Let's see. All these Microsoft things take a lot of load. Man, I love building computers, man. This is fun. And I have 2 of them to do tonight. But this is the first one. I've never built this system with these exact parts, so if any issues, we're gonna trial and error together. All right, here we go. So it's saying there's an update. No, there's not. So this is what we want. We want Windows, create Windows 10 installation media. Download the tool. Yeah, we'll download it. Go over here, open that. And then, of course, more waiting and waiting. All right, accept their license agreement. All right, so here's our 2 options. Don't want to upgrade. We're creating an installation media. So hit next. Yep, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Now, USB flash drive. That's the big one. If you were using like a DVD, had a DVD-ROM drive, which I think is what all of them are now, if those, those computers that still have them, you could use ISO and get away with it. We're not gonna do that. We're using the USB flash drive that I have here. And, oh, can't find it, huh? Oh, I didn't have it inserted all the way. There we go. Okay, so refresh drive list. There it is, drive H. So we'll hit next. And if I remember correctly, make sure you save anything that on the flash drive. If you have anything on it, you're going to want to kind of pull that off and put it on something else, because I'm pretty sure, could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, Windows it's basically formatting that thing now. So I had some old motherboard drivers on there, so I don't care if they disappear, but I wanted to leave that on there and see if it does. Oh yeah, feel free to keep using your PC. See, that's what Microsoft tells you when you know you're going to be waiting a while. Anytime they say, oh yeah, feel free to keep doing what you were doing. Well, we were waiting, man. So we're going to keep on waiting. Actually, yeah, it's not going too slow. Huh? Okay, there we go. I was going to say, insert a disk. No, 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 no. We're gonna let this go for a second, but I'm wondering if this, oh no, it's still going. We're good. I was thinking it kind of like glitched out a minute there. I've had that happen once. It's crazy, all the computers I've built, um, you know, over the years, and I still remember my first one. Mm, it's crazy. It was an old Pentium 4. It was a Pentium 4, what was it? Mm, thought it was like a Pentium 4 1.8 hyper-threading, maybe 1.9. You're talking a single core. Um, the CPU here, this Ryzen one now has, this is a 6-core processor. So you can see where we're up to. And that's an entry level, you know. That's considered the gaming processor or the I don't need a whole bunch of damn cores processor. Um, my computer over here, my water-cooled one, Cryo, has an 8-core, 16-thread processor. It's way more than what it needs, but it is what it is. Excuse me. There is some whiskey in this. Mm. You know what? While this finishes, we can go back to something else here. And this paper right here. Let me see if I can hold this still enough and get it. This is just a little user's manual paper. I should have pulled up a graphic of this, but let me see. If you can see this, if my camera will focus in here. No. No. Anywho, we're going to have to connect some wires, some headers to this motherboard, mainly power button, reset button. And this piece of paper here actually has, if I'm not mistaken, oh man, I lied. It doesn't. It just labels where everything is, which I don't need to see that. Definitely good if this is your first build. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, there's like a whole orientation. Like the biggest, I think the most common issue people have when they build their own computer is, you know, they get done doing it and then the power button doesn't work or the reset button doesn't work or the LEDs for the power button or whatever button, doesn't work. And that usually means they're backwards. It's real easy to mess up. So I'll have to look this board up because this doesn't show me the orientation unless it might be printed on the motherboard. We'll take a closer look in a moment. See, I normally do this long before I even start, but man, if you haven't built a computer, this is what you need to see. Only annoying parts. Yeah, so the more I think about my first computer, that was a Pentium 4 1.8 hyper-threading CPU, and then I ended up upgrading it. I got a Pentium 4 3.0 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz processor that I overclocked to 4 gigahertz, 4,000 megahertz. And we're talking back in 2006, 2007 maybe 2005. Ultimately that I ended up blowing up that CPU in 2008 or 9. Yeah, I think I got it in 2005. I blew it up in 2008 or 9. I'd have to look at when it released. It was pretty new. Um, and yeah, I've been huge into overclocking for a long time too, which I'll have to do. I need to do a video on my computer, which I named Cryogen. This thing is insane. There's like, the only thing that's air cooled is the radiator for all the fluid. It's crazy. But yeah, I overclock things to the point of, let's just say even after, doing this for what, 20 years, I've overclocked my system to the point where I'm nervous. Like, I'm like, yo, this thing could just like start smoking soon. But that's how we hit overclocking leaderboards. Which I was number 1 with my hardware. I don't know if I still am. I should probably check on that at some point. Good God, this is insane. You know what I can do while we wait on this? I can go get some paper towels. I did not grab paper towels. I'm gonna need a couple of those. Ouch. Stubbed my toe and found paper towels, so double-edged sword here. Damn, that hurt, dude. 80%? Jesus. I think this is taking so long because I think I put this in a USB 2 slot instead of a 3. I probably Should have paid attention to that. They're considerably slower. Jesus, man. Guess I'll re-up on a drink. Mm. All right, here we go. Damn, only 89%. Now watch, it's gonna get to like 97% and then it's gonna fail. Cheers. People are probably like, he's drinking while building a computer. He's stupid. Your mom's stupid. Hey, 93%. As a matter of fact, so while we wait for the last 5%, I want to go over another cool little, let me get out of this thing. You guys get to see that. Let's turn that off. I want to go over another little thing here about these solid state drives here. No matter how fast your internet is, like take me for example. I have Fios gigabit internet, 1,000, 1,000. That's up and down. I can download. It's kind of crazy because it'll download and boost up to between 120 actual megabytes per second download to 140. My roommate Brian has seen quite a bit higher in some cases. If you have an old mechanical hard drive, you are not going to download to that thing at much more than maybe 15 to 30 megabytes per second, just because they can't write that fast to themselves. They just can't do it. With one of these guys, it doesn't even have to be this small M.2 factor. Man, I wish I had. It's a laptop drive, little 3.5-inch hard drive, right? Those guys, even with the SATA, using the little SATA plug here, you can get these drives for way under $100. Like you can get like a 250 gigabyte drive like this one here. You can get these things for like $50. And you know, that's more than what most people, you know, if you need a computer where you're just browsing the internet, you're on Facebook playing Facebook games, airing your dirty laundry out all over, you know, hell in creation like I see every day that I decide to hop on Facebook. Um, these are amazing. Hands down, they're amazing. You get one of these, you turn your computer off, you turn it back on. I kid you not, your computer will boot in less than 30 seconds. If it doesn't, I will fix it for free. If you know me and you have one of these drives and your computer does not fully boot in 30 seconds, I will fix it for you. Like, I know that's not going to happen. If it does, you have a virus. So you're looking at some stuff you shouldn't be looking at. But yeah, these are by far, this is your CPU doesn't matter for your boot time. Your video card doesn't matter for your boot time. Nothing else matters. Hell, your memory doesn't matter for your boot time. It used to. It doesn't now. This is what matters. So, any of you out there, slow computer, whatever, not booting, obviously, if you know me on Facebook, I actually linked this one to Facebook for this reason. If you know me, reach out to me. I can help you out with that. And most often than not, this is what I'm going to tell you to get. Hands down, it's what I'm going to tell you to get. Yeah, it's night and day. I can't even stress it enough. You know, M.2 or 3.5-inch SATA drive, solid state, can't go wrong. They are amazing. You might hear some pessimistic people, if I said that right, pessimistic, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying. Say, oh, well, these don't last as long as mechanical drives. Well, they still have an average life of between 5 and 10 years, these drives. If you look at the actual hours, just put this into perspective. I'm looking at the back of this M.2 right here. I don't think you can see it. Let me see if I can move it so it'll come into... Will it? Nah, it's not gonna. It's trying to focus on other things. Anyway, if you look right here, that is 1.8 million hours of optimal performance runtime. You do that math, 1.8 million hours before this drive should show noticeable degradation that is not considered inland's, you know, within inland spec. So yeah, I'll leave you guys to do the math. I'm not doing that right now. I've had my computer for, well, here's another good example. My computer, I'm running a Samsung solid state. That's my boot drive. It's just a 256 gigabyte like this guy, a higher end one. But it's what all I have on it is my Windows operating system. Everything else is all games that I play, all programs is on another drive. Another multiple drives. I have a lot of them. And I just looked at it the other day. You can monitor drive life on it, and it went from 100% to 99% in 2 years. And you're talking about downloading. I have to look at it. Like I could actually, we'll pull it up. I'll show you guys something here. Wait, is this thing done now? Oh man, it's done. All right, we're gonna do that later. Sweet. So back to the display capture. Here we go, guys. We are done ski. USB flash drive's ready, so we're going to hit finish. Oh god, here we go. Okay, thank you. Alright, so that's done. We're done with that. Don't need that open. And our drive is done. pull that out of the computer, and we will go back to this right here. So here it is. This is now our Windows 10. Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's clear some of this away. We found out this paper here is useless. Thanks, Gigabyte. One piece of paper, and you couldn't even put the one thing we all of us system builders need. Appreciate it. We'll look it up. Not worried about that. All right. So what I like to do here, there's some prep we need to do to this motherboard here. I like to kind of use the motherboard box here as a little stand. Now another thing I like to do is when you're doing this, this may sound like a joke. You know, they sell anti-static wristbands. You know, put them around your wrist here, and you know, you're not gonna like be statically charged. What they mean by that is you ever go to touch something and it shocks the hell out of you, and it's not even electric. Like you go to like touch the wall or doorknob, and you just get like you get blasted. That type of, it's either the volts, the watts, the amps, whatever's in that, I don't remember what it is. One blast like that to a motherboard here on the circuitry, it's done. It is absolutely, you might as well throw this thing into a nuclear power plant or just plug wall voltage directly in it. Like you're done. You're absolutely done. I don't wear one of those, never have, never had a problem with the motherboard. Don't wear fuzzy socks. Like, yeah, I know some of you out there, you got them big ass fuzzy socks, and you're walking around, your hair's standing up because they're creating all this static electricity. All you have to do is if you have a computer near you, a light socket near you. In my case, I have basically a lamp that's right here that you can't see. You can see it in the other. It's actually what this camera's on right here. I have a lamp here. Any metal part of that, reach up, grab it, you'll be discharged. And you just got to touch something that's grounded. I do that before I touch any motherboard, and then don't go rubbing your feet all over the place with socks on and all that stuff. So anyway, a couple little precautions. You can also look up static electricity with computer building, and take, you know, whatever precautions you seem, you know, or you deem necessary. So anti-static bag, we don't need that anymore. Not for right now. How do I have this? ERP ready. What are we doing? What are we doing? I want to try to put this in a way that it'll be correct for you guys. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so what we're picturing this motherboard right now is as though it's in the computer. I'm going to have to do this backwards. But let's say you have your computer case on its side, you have the side panel off. This is what you're going to see in there. This is the main board. You have your CPU socket here. We have cooler retention. We're actually going to keep this because we got the right processor and all that good stuff, so we're good there. These are PCI Express slots, CMOS battery. We have VRMs right here. This is the VRM heatsink. This is what supplies voltage to your processor and I believe various other components. Now here, we have 4 DDR4 RAM slots here. 2 are black, 2 are gray. Each one of these is a different memory channel. So, like I said, you can think of these as two highways. You know, let's say the black ones right here are a highway. It's congested in rush hour. Well, let's double the highway and add the gray ones in there. Guess what? We all get home from work earlier, right? So that's their idea with this. Now, like I said, we're not using dual channel. We're only using one memory stick. So in our case, it doesn't matter which one we plug them into. I do believe that if we were using single channel on this board or dual channel, when you install them, you're going to want to put them in, I believe, the 2 outmost slots. I could be wrong. I have to look it up. It can vary from board to board. But basically, just match the colors. So put them in the 2 black ones, put them in the 2 gray ones. Most of these motherboards now, if your RAM is not installed in an optimal slot, even though it will still work, it'll just be slower. it will bring up a boot message saying, hey, RAM configuration not optimized, la da 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 da, whatever, you know? And that's a telltale sign. So if that happens and you have them both in the black, move both RAM chips to the gray. That message will probably disappear. And then enjoy even faster performance, application loading, whatnot. Okay, now all of these USB. Let me show you why I chose this board for my employer. What's the best way to do this? So look at this. So we have 2, 4, 6. These are USB 3s. These blue ones, those are USB 3s. Those are super fast. The black ones are USB 2. They do that for compatibility reasons. We won't get into that. But so we have 2, 4, 6, and 8 right over here. That's just on the board itself. Your computer case that you pick is almost always going to have at least 2 USB ports that you can wire directly to the motherboard. Let me flip this around real quick so I can see this. On this board, those are called USB headers. So I have, let's see, front USB 2 and 1. Okay, here we go. So if we look right here, you're going to see 1 and 2. These are USB headers. Your computer case is going to actually plug into these and give you additional USB ports. Additionally, with PCI Express slots right here, you can even get a PCI card that will have an additional 4 USB slots. That will put them additional right on the back here on the I/O panel. Really awesome stuff. So this board I felt was a fantastic workstation board for any kind of business computer build. It is kind of mimics like a Dell Optiplex business computer, but without the proprietary bullshit that I can't stand, which is why I have not bought a computer in, couldn't tell you how long. I build them all. It's just, I'm building them. They do proprietary stuff where they'll have like a power connector that's proprietary, or the form factor, which is 1, 2, all these little holes that mount it. You know, in the aftermarket world of building your own computer, they're called the ATX standard. They don't follow that. You know, and it makes it almost impossible for you to upgrade. So once your computer is outdated or your hard drive slows down, they make you think that, hey, now you got to go buy another $3,000 computer from us, when you could have built that $3,000 computer yourself, or have somebody that you know that knows how to build them. Moi, could have built that for you for half the price, $1,500, maybe less. It all depends. All depends on what they're doing. So, anywho, yeah. So here we have the board. We have CPU socket. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to put the CPU in here. We got to get that rolling. If I can find out where I put the, there it is. So, so here we go. Let me move this completely out of the way here. I'll actually set this here. We have our Ryzen. Now, out of the new Ryzen processors, if I'm not mistaken, the Ryzen 3600X, I believe, excuse me, may be the only one to come with a factory cooler. So if you want to go with the any of the higher end CPUs, you're not going to get this guy right here. You're going to have to buy an aftermarket cooler, whether it's, you know, water cooled or not, which highly, if you're building your first computer and you're going water cooled, you're badass, man. But this guy, this fan right here, is what cools the CPU, and what a beefy thing this is. If you can see this, you see all this, you'll see this gray material on here. That's thermal compound. Now I gotta hand it to Ryzen because they use what seems like pretty legit normal thermal compound. The only problem I have with this is if you look when I pull this CPU out, the CPU is bigger than the amount of thermal compound they put on there. Their CPU covers this entire shiny milled out area that you can see, that shiny aluminum around that thermal compound. So that leaves a pretty good surface area that's not going to get any thermal paste on it. And I've tried this out and then took the cooler off, and yeah, there was part of the CPU heat spreader that didn't have any coolant on, or any compound. So we're going to take this, set this off to the side for a second. This is our Ryzen CPU. That's the guy right there. So all the pins on the back, AM4 socket. It's a beast. This chip is heavy. Like, you can tell that AMD is just slamming cores in these things. All right, let's get this box out of here now. Slide that back down. That. Lock that up. Da-da. All right. Get rid of that. Oops, we left this stuff out of it. That doesn't matter. Okay. So now we have the CPU here. Now let me go, I want to zoom in on this so everybody can kind of see what we got going on. I'll try to keep my hands out of the way. How am I going to do this? Yeah, this one. Let's go to properties. Let me see here. Oops, there we go. Let me do this. How is that going to look when we zoom in? Oh, I'm running it at max, just about max res. All right, we won't do that. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do here, this lever here, the locking lever, pull that up. Straight up and down, we're good to go. Now, I want to try to show this. There is, if you look, there's not going to be enough light. I think you might be able to. If you look on this right here, this one is a little different. The corner right here is different from all the other corners, meaning this corner has one, I think it's 1 or 2 holes missing. And then when we open up our CPU here, these things like to go flying. If you look here on our Ryzen, there is this little gold arrow. You match this gold arrow with that corner, which is going to be the top left corner if you have your CPU oriented correctly. And then that's it. Don't ever force this down. You don't have to hit it. You don't have to push on it. It should literally, just like I do right here, drops right in. And then once that's down, lock the lever. That's it. This CPU is installed. So now that brings us back to this guy here. We got this thermal stuff on here. I don't use that thermal stuff. That's why I buy thermal compound. The stuff you apply yourself, if you go with a reputable one, there's some super cheap ones out there. And actually, this Ectotherm here is pretty cheap. But it's good. It's good. I think I'm still using this on my GPU's water block. And that thing runs cold. So I have switched to Thermal Grizzly, Cryonaut thermal paste. But I tell you, I didn't notice a difference between this and that. So this stuff's pretty legit. You get a lot for your money too. It's less than $10, and other companies will charge you for this amount. They'll charge you like $20 to $30 for a syringe of this much. So, yeah, EKWB, Ectotherm, really good stuff. So now what we're going to do, little rubbing alcohol here, because it melts right through thermal compound. Or not. There we go. There we go. Get off of there. That away. So see, as you rub that thermal paste off, it kind of gets a dark color. Let's go ahead and okay, we're going to. All right, we're gonna use one. I'm not happy about it. God, these things stink. Grain alcohol pad. That. It smells like the worst vodka you could ever smell. And then it left water residue. That's nice. Yeah, stay away from that stuff. That stuff sucks. All right, there we are. Clean enough. So now we take our thermal paste here. Wait a minute. Am I missing? I'm not missing a bracket, right? They changed their cooler. We're actually not going to be using the old AM bracket, it looks like. Wow, look at that. There used to be this whole latch mechanism, unless I'm messing up here. It's got the plate. We have to screw into the plate. Yeah, it just screws into the plate. All right, good. Didn't anticipate that. Let me grab this guy. All right. Phillips screwdriver. We're gonna need that. Turns out we actually gotta pop this bracket off because it's not going to retain with that anymore. Now you want to be careful with this. Be mindful, don't go too fast. I use these things every day. If you drop the screwdriver and hit any of these traces here, could render your motherboard useless. Now the nice thing about leaving the motherboard on the box, there's a back plate on here that we have to screw into. And by not having the motherboard up in the air or anything like that, you can see these two plastic pins. Keeps those protruding. It's going to be super easy to install our cooler. Alright, so now where's our CPU fan headers? Right there. And we are going to run. A lot of people will install their fan like this, and they don't pay attention to the fact that if you buy high enough performance RAM sticks, I don't know if you guys can tell. Oh yeah, you can tell. Look at how this AMD icon is going over the RAM slot. That means it's going to be bending your RAM. These are the things where after you've built enough computers over, you know, what, 15, 20 years, you learn to turn this around this way. Now look at all that. Now, let me move this over. Look at that. We are completely clear of our RAM slots. We're not going to have any issues if we ever use all 4 slots. We're good. You know, we're not going to... Now, of course, it's not that hard to take this off, put it back on, but if you do that, you're also going to want to replace the thermal paste as well. So, we're not playing that game. We're just going to knock it out. This is how we're going to install it. So now we know. And now, thermal compound time. And that's this stuff right here. To mix this up, I like to pull this a couple times, pull vacuum on it. And kind of just mix it together a little bit because it will settle over time, and who knows how long this stuff's been at the store. So that's that. Pull the top off. And before we use that, we are going to get a paper towel ready. Put this right here. Now, I could easily trigger so much, so many negative opinions if I just put too much on here. You can't put too much thermal paste. The only downside to putting too much thermal paste is it leaks off onto the sides. It's non-conductive. It doesn't matter. No. So the old school way was to put a little BB right in the center. Only problems is that was leaving areas here uncovered. So the most commonly adopted way to do this, the way I've been doing it for a long time, is slowly push down. There. Now from this side. There. And then you can either do a dot here, dot there, dot there, dot there, or the most recommended is like this. Now, this assures a couple of things by doing it this way. This assures, most importantly, that there will not be a single part of this heat spreader here that does not have thermal compound between this, your cooler. It is too much. It is going to be excessive, but I'll tell you right now, too much, your temperatures are low. Too little, your brand new $200 CPU and computer overheats. You decide. So now what we do, we take this, right orientation, AMD symbol to the right, set it down, and then start screwing them in. Now I only do a couple turns on each one here. I like to tighten them evenly. Then we go to this one. Just do it in kind of a crisscross pattern. And we can tighten this one almost all the way down. And you only tighten these just until they stop. Like you don't need to, we're not working on a truck here. All right, now we'll tighten them all the way down. And that's it. This one resisted. It has springs on it, so it puts the correct amount of pressure on it at all times. Tighten this one. Oh, y'all see what I did there? Hit this at an angle. I need to loosen these up. I didn't get all of them started, see? That's what you get to see on the live stream. Okay. Now, after loosening those, this one will touch. And there we go. Is this one touching over here? Let me make sure this one's touching. Alright, now we're golden. And I'm going to just verify. Right here, it's getting close to some. Yeah, okay. They milled it out enough so it clears all the capacitors. Good. And here we go. Now we can start torquing these babies down. That one's done. Tighten this one all the way down now. That one's done. That one just resisted. That one's done. And that one just resisted. That one's done. And that's all there is to it. So now, we also now have a handle where we can hold our motherboard and Don't have to worry about dropping it. This is that back plate I was talking about. This plate right here. When I took these brackets off here, these guys, when you take these off, that would have just fallen right out of there. And now it's on there. So we're good. And actually, you can see where you might be able to see some of the thermal compound in there kind of oozing out a little bit. We got a really good seal. Very good. All right. All right. Bathroom break. Be right back. Just found a fresh peanut butter cookie. All right, here we go. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is put a ram stick in. Now you don't have to do this. This is like the said way to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it this way because it's possibly, potentially, maybe good practice. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. But what the hell? Why not? I'm gonna do it just because it's easier to see. Now, with DDR4 memory, you'll see this line is offset. Pay attention to that on the motherboard. And then, do we have mechanical? Yes, okay. So, for this one, I'm going to revert back. Let me see. So this is where this paper might come in handy. DDR4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2. Okay. Well, that's not telling me anything. So 1 and 2. And then 3 and 4. I see now. So if you look at this, you may not be able to see that. Anyways, it says slot 1, 2, 3, 4. It actually says slot DDR4, 1, and then space 2, and then space back 3, and then 4. 1 and 2 are going to be our channel 1, and 9 times out of 10. And in this case, 1 and 2, as I was saying, are the furthest slots away, the gray slots. So the gray slots are what we want to use. And slot 1 and 2, which means we're going far outside here. And then we have it offset. That's the wrong way. Goes like that. And then all you have to do is on both outsides. Let me turn this around. So you see this? Finger on each side, push down, and boom. You hear it click. That was only one click. There's the second click. So now we know memory's in. Good to go there. So there we have it. That is the only thing we are going to connect to this motherboard right now. I now need to set this aside here. Gotta get my keyboard out of here. Luckily it's wireless. We don't need that right now. Set that guy down there. Oh, we can move some of this stuff around. Get some room. We don't need the memory box anymore. I believe we're pretty much done with paper towels now. But we'll keep those right there just in case. Razor blade near them. And motherboard can hang out over there. Out of the way. And now, let's get rid of all this. I'm actually going to throw these brackets back in the Ryzen box. It's probably good to hold on to them just in case you need them. Certain coolers might use those, but in my experience, a lot of aftermarket coolers, they come with their own anyway, so hold on to them. I needed them for something. I don't remember what it was. Nothing I am using now, though. Oh, I did forget something. The M.2. We need to install that now. So let's slide this guy back on over. Now, the M.2, this is your M.2 slot. It's, again, a little bit tough to really see. It even says M.2. The telltale of where your M.2 is are these circles here. These are different form factors of M.2. This part of your M.2, this edge, will line up with one of these three holes. In our case, the screw for it is right here. So, first thing we want to do, pull that screw out. Don't lose it. This thing is tiny, man. There we go. We got our little screw. Set that right there. Now we need to open this guy up. You gotta be careful. You don't want to nick the hard drive with it, obviously. Nor do you want to cut yourself with these damn things, man. It's funny, the razor blade's not what I'm worried about. It's this plastic. You go to build these things, next thing you know, you're bleeding all over the place. There we go. So once you get the one edge and you've perforated it all the way around. Nope, not enough. We just did a scratch here. Man, if anybody has an easier way to open these, I am all ears and eyes. There we go. That's why I like to perforate it. So once you get it, you can just peel this back. Slides right out. That off to the side. This is a 256 gigabyte hard drive. Solid state drive to be exact. Tiny, tiny, tiny. So these things basically use chips like the memory does here, only super high density so they can have 256 gigabytes worth on them. I recommend not pulling off the sticker of these, this inland sticker, and whatever manufacturer will have one on there. That actually acts, a lot of cases, this is like a piece of aluminum that's printed on, or like a sticker's put on a little piece of aluminum, and acts as a heat spreader. These can get warm, so that helps cool it. Best practice is to get if you're doing like a lot of writing to a solid state drive, best practice would be to get a actual heat spreader. Really high-end motherboards come with them. Mine did. But I ended up getting the 1 terabyte version of this just for a data drive on my motherboard to fill up the second slot. And I don't have a heat spreader on it, but it doesn't seem to get as hot as the Samsung one that my computer boots to. So I would say, off my experience, if you're going to boot to this, get a heat spreader. You'll be happy you did when it lasts longer. So to insert this, what we're going to pay attention to is the little groove right here. You can probably see that somewhat. Yeah. Oh, there we go. It tried to focus for a minute. So you can kind of see. There you go. So you can see that groove. That groove we're going to line up with a groove that is actually right here. You'll be able to see it facing these PCI slots. So what you do is you just, oops, push that in, and then it stays up like that. I don't know if you can tell. See how it's elevated? So that's in. You push it in like that. Then push it down. You see it's kind of sprung. That's how it makes its contact in here, believe it or not. So spring it down right here, and that little tiny screw we're going to install right here, and that'll hold it down. So here's our little tiny screw. Lightly magnetic screwdriver greatly helps. And then you can just set it on there, and voila. Now, don't make these too tight. Again, it's clamping the circuit boards. So I always say, all right, I'm feeling resistance here. Quarter turn. You're done. 1/4 turn. FYI, that is this. That's a quarter turn. Fast, snug. And you're done. So, there it is. Hard drive's installed. That was the last thing we need to do. Now we can move this thing out of the way. Let's roll. Oh, here we go. Now we got this big beast. Let me see if I can get this thing up here. All right. It's actually a small case. It's a mini case. It is the, oh, there it is. Let me move my drink. It is thermal take Versa. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see that. I see. Okay, so, oh, you can see it actually in the other one. All right, so we'll turn it this way then. So what you can see, do this. Oops. There we go. So now you can really see it. So the Versa H17. Yeah, this thing's, it's nothing fancy. It's decent. I got it because of its size. It's going in a pretty tight area, which is also a reason why I bought an additional fan for it. Pretty tight area. Let's get our razor blade and open this box up. Get this case out of here. That should be that. All right, and now set this thing upside down and lift. The hell are you looking on, man? Oh, I see. And we'll ditch the box. Ditch the styrofoam 1. Styrofoam 2. And then here's our legs on this side here. Let me go ahead and move this overall one back over here. And there we go. Alright, now, so here's how this case looks. You can see the front of it. We'll make this one bigger. This is better for having the case here. So you can see we've got power button here. We've got 2 USB 2s and 1 USB 3 here. A reset button and some headphones and sound things here that we're not going to be using. What I do like about this, let me see if I can get this turned around so that you all can see. That. Oh yeah, right there. See this thing? Let me do this. This thing right here, magnetic filter. It's got magnets on it. Stick it anywhere. Pretty cool. So, super easy to clean. And then also, with holes that are sized this small, you can still feel air through it if you blow on it. But the nice thing too is, if you were to spill water on this, it's still going to get in there, but the water will bead up on the holes because they're small enough, and it kind of resists it. Don't spill stuff on your computer is really the whole idea, but it helps. Definitely helps, but mainly it's for dust. Other than that, this is a cheap case. It's a basic case. No bells and whistles. You don't really need it. So, yeah. Alright, so now we're going to lay this thing down on its side. And we're going to, let's go back to the other view here. We'll keep this one down here for now. And let's pull this side panel off. Side panel we'll set over here. And here it is. So power supply shroud. Yeah, we're going to have to go to the other cam for this one. Alright, so we have power supply shroud here. Got our motherboard tray. Here's our one thermal take fan here, which you can see if I turn this around. Oh, another magnetic filter on the bottom. That's pretty good. You can see thermal take fan there. That's the exhaust fan. It's set up in exhaust orientation already. So now we also need to take the other side panel off because that's where our cable management is going to happen. Oh, drop that one. I got more of them. And there we go. Now, let's see. What goodies are they giving us in here? Tons of screws and hardware. Good, good, good. I had some just in case. Just in case. So, a couple of probably old dried out zip ties, but we'll see. Alright, so those wires that I was talking about earlier. These guys. These are, let's see, the power switch, hard drive activity LED. A lot of people get that one backwards, where when their system's idle, it's basically showing that the hard drive activity light is solid, and then you start doing stuff and it starts blinking. It's funny. It happens. It's happened to me and I didn't even realize it. So I like to start by getting these separated. These are the USBs. We're using those. Let's move those out of the way. Sip some of this whiskey. Yeah, whiskey. Yep. Got it. Yep. All right. Get rid of this twisty tie here. Looks like hell. All right, so we gotta look at where these are all coming from. What is this? Oh, that's right. Okay, so this is USB 3. So we're gonna be using this too. So all of the USBs I like to keep together. These guys right here, we're gonna keep those together. And then all of these we'll keep together. Now we don't know where these are going yet. We know where they're going on the motherboard, but we don't know where we're gonna route them as far as the case goes. So what I like to do, this twisty tie we just took out of here, we're going to put that thing to use. Because we have a motherboard to install. First step, always. So now that keeps that neat. And these guys will automatically stay separate because now we have this. Yeah, so we're good. You get the idea. All right. Shove that under there. Turn this around. And here we go. It's kind of weird. I wish I could get... Oh, I can. The lighting's not that good, though. Set something up here. Yeah. The lighting just isn't that good. Okay, so we'll go with this for now. Alright, so now we will move the fan cable out of the way here. Everything is clear, we're good. Now it's hard for you guys to see, but there are standoffs here. These metal posts. It's good that they already have those in. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's pretty much the normal amount on an MATX board. Other ones would use like 9. Mine uses 9 standoffs in my computer. These are good to pay attention to because if it didn't have these metal standoffs here, and you just screwed the motherboard down in, there are a bunch of metal contacts. All of these here for the memory, mainly the big VRM ones. Your VRM is going to be grounding on your case. The second you turn that power on, it's probably a wrap. Like your motherboard, at bare minimum, is dead. Yeah, don't want to do that. All right, so let's get this motherboard set in here. Oh, no. See, jumping ahead of myself. I/O panel. We need that. Some people don't use them. A lot of popular tech streamers don't really use them. Me, I prefer it. So pull this back out. And audio is always at the bottom. What's up, dude? Yeah, man. That's Brian, the roomie's home, complaining about the mess like he cleans the place up.
I said I expected. I wanted to see like a motherboard in the wall type.
Oh, no, that ain't happening. No. We ain't doing that.
It ain't fitting.
No. We're not having that. Dude, they've beefed these things up, man. When I build the other one later, I'll show you, dude. It is beefy, and they got rid of the bracket.
Really?
They don't use it anymore. It's more of it kind of reminds me of an Intel style.
That is.
Yeah, they don't use the it's just screwed straight down. What do you mean?
What chip?
Oh, it's a 3800X. 3600X, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
a
the
weird
cooler.
cooler.
Yeah, I had to pull the bracket off. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like looking at the cooler. I was like, holy shit, they
Yeah.
got away from it. That's awesome, man.
I expected something a little bit like, what we were used to.
Yeah. No, they got rid of it. About time. But they still use the same backing plate.
Yeah, which is.
So not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a problem at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
This thing, Randy, you have any other ones? Gigabit?
No.
Let me know how the gigabit is going, because I was thinking gigabit for the next motherboard. I just don't know much about them.
Yeah. Alright. Now is when we gotta stand up. We gotta get this thing to fit. Alright. So what I'm gonna do to make this easy, so that I/O panel back here has springs on it that push the motherboard that way. And makes it a little bit annoying. I don't want to pinch any wires here. So now that that's hanging out of the way, let's go ahead and get a couple of these motherboard screws. What is this? Not what I'm looking for. Not what I'm looking for. Bingo. These are the guys I'm looking for. Alright. Sounded weird, but yeah. Alright. Dump those out right there. They send you way more than they would need. Now what thread pitch are they using on these? Should be the bigger, these guys. I think it's these. I like to test them by hand first. Oh no, I was wrong. It's the smaller ones. It's these guys. Bingo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of all the same screws. Move those there. Scoot all that out of the way. We have just the ones we need right there. Now we can slide our motherboard in without concern. There it is. You just push down, set that screw right there. Oops. There it is. Once you get that first screw in there, you are good. Like, it kind of holds it in place. Of course, now I'm going to have to use my phone light here. Standoff there, not there. Perfect. I gotta tell you, I've never owned anything Gigabyte. They make a good board, it seems like. It seems like their product, I'm always impressed. I've built with it before. I've never owned anything Gigabyte. Huge fan of EVGA. By far. But they only make Intel motherboards. I use AMD. Alright. Hit all the standoffs. Okay, next one. I see what I did there. That's why it faulted me a little bit. I did not have that I/O panel, everything positioned in it correctly. So now we gotta pull it back out. Last one. There it is. And we'll set that back there. Okay, we're good there. All right. Now let's try. Make sure, okay, we're good? Good. Make sure we get everything. Now everything's lined up. There we go. That's where we made a boo-boo last time. The time-consuming parts. Now, if this was my computer, would I use all of these motherboard screws? No, definitely not. But when I'm building a computer for somebody else, I will. Just out of abundance of caution. Nothing more, nothing less. It is what it is. Like I said, for these areas, it really helps to have this magnetic screwdriver. No, its weak magnet is not going to hurt anything inside your computer. And here's the last one. Oh, good. Dropped right here. I was going to say, don't do that. Why is this one not? This one's not sticking. All right, we're going to put you in by hand then. Gotcha. There it is. Motherboard installed. So now, if we wanted to, we could essentially lift it up by the fan. Motherboard is solid. We're good to go. I like it. All right. We have that. So the motherboard is now in. Let's see. Put some of these screws back in the bag. You'll see they send you so many screws, but you, oh, drop that one. Never use all of them. Ever, ever, ever. There it is. Now they can go in there for now. Alright, oh, CPU fan. CPU fan header is always, we're gonna switch to the other. I don't know. So, CPU fan header is always like right here. You see that white one? That's always, like on just about every motherboard I've seen, it's always there. So then we get to figure out how are we gonna wire this guy. You know, we want it to look clean. Technically, you could just take it, stick it right there. It's out of the way. That's pretty clean. But a little trick, if it wants to come out of there, damn, is if you take this and twist it clockwise and then put it down in. Where's the wire? It naturally wants it to bend towards the back side of the case, and then you can tuck it, semi-tuck it anyway, underneath the motherboard. It's pretty cool. So it stays right over there. Pretty out of the way, not too bad. Alright, so that's that. And yeah. So now we have our chassis fan for exhaust. And they actually have a fan header right next to it right there. I don't know if you can see, but it's right here. Literally right next to that thing, man. So we're going to shorten this way down. We'll shorten it way down. Make sure it stays out of the way. They provided zip ties, and we are going to use them. That's the thing, man. These things, you know, when it's your own computer, you can kind of cut corners here and there, and no problem. If it starts making noise, it's on you. You built it. But if you cut corners on a system you're building for somebody else, whether it's for free or whether you're being paid to do it, if it starts making noise, they're looking at you. Even if you did them a favor, you're not doing them any favors if you half-ass it. So that's always my belief. So if you're going to do somebody a favor, be genuine, do it the right way, or just don't do it at all. Whoever you're thinking of doing a favor for is better off without your half-assedness. That's just how I go. It's just how I am. You're going to do something, do it right, or don't do it at all. Unless it's your own. Because believe me, my own computers, they may look nice, but I got like half the hardware holding that thing together it should have. I'm not going to lie. It is how it is. So now we have a nice little bow zip tie here. And now we plug it into the fan header here. Doing it blind, got it. Their orientation only goes one way. So now we have a little bit of excess cable here. The nice thing to do with this, which I really like to do, is you can tuck that underneath the fan and your I/O panel, which is this back here, and it stays put. It's not going to jump out, get caught in the CPU fan. It's not going to do anything stupid. It's out of the way. You can't see it. That's how you want it. It's great. And there we go. So now we've got that wired up, RAM in. The last thing we're going to do is I/O, is the case wiring. The USBs, the power button, the switches. I gotta pull all that good stuff up. But yeah, that'll be the last thing we do. Let me see. Now they also come with this little speaker. Sometimes I install these, sometimes I don't. These things are massive little noise makers. Like, I don't need this thing to boot or to beep when it's booting. Like, I don't need that, man. So we may not install that. All right, I think we're about ready for. I like to do the power supply next. Let's see. Better yet, where's our USB I/O? USB 3.0 is right there.
See how much I love you? You're doing this. I
Hey, oh, could you come out clothed?
can't see I love you. I hate when it does.
All the cameras are facing down, man.
I know, but I just what you're doing.
You ain't that gifted. It ain't on the floor.
It ain't on the front, but it might be in the back.
It ain't on the back. Dude, this is gonna be a badass little computer, man.
Good. Did David up there help you pick out the parts, or you just kind of?
No, so I went to Microcenter and I already knew everything I want, so
Oh, so you already searched online what you were.
yeah,
Okay.
so I already had all the parts, and I was just standing up there by the build your own PC department, and like everybody's coming up asking, because every time I go in there, I'm spending money. So like everybody's like, hey man, did you need help? I'm like, no, I'm good. And as soon as David comes up, David's like, hey man, what are you getting today? And I was like, 2 computers. He goes, great. And I was like, I'll read you the SKUs, man.
Curiosity.
I went and looked at water cooling stuff.
Put his tag on these, or did you at least tell
They
him?
pulled them off now.
What do you mean they pulled them off?
They pulled them off of the boxes, the tag.
But his
Yeah.
tag.
For anybody watching this, if you go to Microcenter, just request David. That guy is legit.
Yeah.
Hands down, anything that I buy, I go through that guy. He is my go-to guy. He's back in the build your own PC department. Any questions you have, this man can definitely answer them for you.
Last time I went there, I just got the power supplies and whatnot. I was looking at speakers and cameras.
Yeah.
Get to the front because I couldn't figure anything. I was like, these speakers aren't that great. I'm not gonna sit there and spin all this buzz. I'm gonna go ahead and hook something out, figure something out. Get to the front, they're like, yeah. So did you find everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I found everything I kind of needed. They're like, did anybody help you out with it? I was like, no, nobody knows what they're doing here except for David. He's a genius.
Now there's a couple of people.
That tall, slinky white guy doesn't know what he's doing. The
No.
one that did that water cooling.
He
display.
Yeah.
He knows the lingo. They got some new cat there. He knows a lot about water cooling. I was talking to him.
All right.
Prices are if I just went ahead and built the water cooling system there instead of buying the AWB.
Nah, it's cheaper to just get the kit.
And that's what I was.
Yeah, get the water cooling kit. It's always cheaper.
It's been about 180 to 120 less.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be the way to go.
I was just trying to figure it out.
So what we're doing now is hooking up all the USB cables. One of these is sound. These are both not USB.
Lick your finger and touch it. See what's
No, HD audio. I need to make sure that one's right because the boss will plug into something, or one of the bosses will plug into something. Alright, so now for the other headers. Alright, let's see if you guys can see this. So we have HD. You can see that. Oops, I know why. Alright, here we go. So, right here, we have HD audio header is all the way down in that corner right here. This is the cable for that. So you can see we pull it in through one of the holes in the back there. But turns out that's not the best area to pull it in. We're going to go down into the shroud. It's all cable management. And then we're going to come up and out right here. Plug it in. Plug it in. Plug it in. And there we go. And now we have that plugged in. And look at how clean all those cables are so far. Barely see any of them. That's what we want. All those cables going all chaotic. Not about all that. Now this is our USB cable here. So this one, we have two USB slots there. One is going to be for the front panel. The other one is going to be, this one's going to come up right through here. Come on, come on, come on. There it is. The other one would be for an PCI Express extension. There we go. And there we have it. Where's all the wires? Looks pretty good. You can see the one CPU wire right here, which you can even, what I did on mine is I tucked it behind the motherboard, spent some time doing it. Couldn't even see it. We got the fan wires tucked right under here. Pretty good, pretty good. Coming along nice. All right. I would say see something here. All right. Moving right along. I like it. It's good stuff, good stuff. Let's see. Okay. All right, we got that. Alrighty. I'm gonna take like a 3-4 minute break here, 5-minute break. When we get back here, we're going to install the power switches. We're gonna look that up, get the power switches installed. We got a power supply to install. We still got a graphics card to install. It's gonna be cool. And then we'll have to plug it up and do some benchmarks. We'll have to stress it, make sure there's nothing wrong. Yeah, all that good stuff. All right, guys, be right back. Right, so we are back. Let's see. Alright, so we've got the CPU installed, the RAM on the motherboard, the CPU cooler. We have USB hooked up, we have HD audio hooked up. Now, everything is good. We're going to go ahead and do... We're going to do the I.O. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do the I.O. panel now. I'm sorry, power and all that good stuff. So, let's switch. Let's see, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, we are going to go... Let's see, let's open that up. Grab my keyboard. Now, we're going to look this motherboard up. Let me go ahead and actually... Yeah, it's too hard to read those. There's markings on the actual motherboard, but it's too hard to read them. So we're going to do the Gigabyte B450 M DSSH. Is that what it is? Or DS3H? It's the DS3H. DS3H had already completed it. Power. Pins. There we go. Now we just go to images here. And pin assignments. That's what we need right here. Better yet, let's do this the right way. Gigabyte.com. Let's go to their website here. This will help. Products. Let's see. Motherboard. We have the B450. Well, you know, we're going to search it on their website here. I'm going to search the DS3H. Let's see what comes up. 550. There it is. Both of these should be the same. I wonder what the difference is. Doesn't matter. We're going to pull up their manual here. There we go. So now we have the manual for the motherboard. And it's the latest and greatest. Let's see, internal connectors right here. 17, page 12. Rolling. So memory compatibility, if that were an issue, we would be able to look at that there. There we go. This is what we needed right here. The F panel. So we need to zoom in. Oops, we don't want to do that. So there we go. Zoom in some more. So this is what we're looking at. I'm actually looking now, it's super small in the computer. So that's what we need to pay attention to when we hook these wires up. If you hook them up backwards, you're not going to short anything out. It's all passive. It's just, you hook them up wrong and either your power button's not going to work or, you know, your LEDs will stay on or whatever. So, let's see. All right. So now we're going to flip this. Let me go ahead. This is what I'll be looking at. And now we're going to go ahead and go back to this screen here. Sorry, the lighting's going to be a little off. Now we'll go back to this screen. So now, these guys that we twist tied out of the way, undo that here. We'll end up using a zip tie to manage these guys at the final point after they're all connected. Alright. Now what I like to do too is I like to twist these, because then it makes one braided cable. Entering in. There we go. So, you'll see, much neater. Now, I'm going to send these up through where the I/O panel is. Send the braided part through. Pull that. Lay that back down. There we go. So now, we have all of our little wires here. So we go back to this. Might be able to see them better on the higher res cam. These are all the little ones. And we got to plug these guys in right there. That big, there's a, oops, sorry, right here. This big white one right there. So I'm going to always use my cell phone light. Plug it so I can set it up. There we go, now I can see. So, we have power LED. I need to go back to that picture. Power LED minus and positive, and then hard disk drive, positive minus, okay. So, we're going to do hard disk drive first. Which is right here. And hard disk drive is like this. And then we're going to do, it was power, plus and minus, so plus right here. And the negative right here. Alright, so we got hard disk drive activity set. We got power LED set. Now we have power switch. Reset switch is next. And they switched this up on us, so now power is to the right and ground is to the left. And we skip no pins. Good to know. And then this one here for the reset switch, or I'm sorry, power switch. And it's opposite, so power to the left, like that. And that's it. Okay. So now we have, can't really see it, but now we have all of those. That's the hardest part to doing these. Which you'll see, it's all of these little wires right here. And where they plug in, right down there. Okay, so that's done. Alright, so now we're going to flip this up like this. So now that that's plugged in, we need to, oh, let me change this. So now that that's plugged in, we're going to pull these lightly, not hard. We just want to take up some of the slack. Now we need to do some cable management back here. Now's where zip ties get involved, not twisty ties. Luckily they provide some. If not, I have a bunch of little ones. Lowe's actually is who had them. I went to Home Depot. It said that Home Depot had some, but I couldn't find them, and they couldn't find them either. So I got them at Lowe's. Let's see. So now, before you bunch thick wires like this with thin wires like this, it's good to get them each kind of going their own correct way and like tied up, like separated. So kind of like this right here. Like that's pretty clean right there. So I'm going to put a zip tie around here. Now you can leave these loose until you actually need to tighten them and get everything positioned the way you want it. So that's pretty loose, just enough to hold it. It holds it. And we're going to grab another zip tie here. And the next zip tie I think will go right around here. But before I put that in, so they have these little hooks here, which are actually meant to zip tie. You can zip tie right through them. Works really cool. It's really nice. I think I kind of want to do that with all of these together right there. This needs to, yeah, because then that'll be hidden down the power supply shroud. So that's how we're going to do this. Slide the zip tie. Oh, they did it that way. They didn't block off the backing, so it slides through easy. So you got to kind of manipulate it a little bit. All right, and again, we'll leave this loose too. Once you tighten the zip tie all the way down, you're not doing anything with it. So there it is. That's pretty good and clear. Snug that up. Snug that up. And that's pretty good. I mean, look at that. That's pretty good for cable management. It's nice, it's clean. The only issue I have right here is when you go to put the panel on, if somebody's not careful, they might pinch these wires. I'm going to try to do something with that. There was another, there actually is. This is why we don't tighten the zip ties all the way, because there's actually another area that we can use to zip tie these all and kind of hold that pressed in like that. That would be really cool. I think we're going to do that. The odds of anybody needing to take this back panel off being a workstation computer is super slim. But if there's any chance at all, prep for it. You know, makes life easy. Plus, if you're building a computer for somebody else and for some reason they have somebody else looking at it or working on it, you don't want that other person to be in there and be like, yo, what dumbass built this for you? Definitely don't want that. You want them to go in there and be like, all right, this computer was built by somebody that knows exactly what they're doing. There we go, snug all these up. I like it. And actually, before we snug this one up all the way, look at that, there's another little area right here. I can zip tie it right to that. And then that is super clean cable management. All right, we'll use the final zip tie on that. If I need more, I have more. But I think we'll be good. There we go. So now, of course, the only thing I have, I actually use, I have big like diagonal cutters I use, but I'll tell you the best thing to cut these little zip ties is buy some nail clippers and keep them where you, with your computer stuff. Super awesome. So easy to cut these. You don't have to worry about cutting any wires. You get them cut right up at the edge. There we go. All right. So now, how's that for some cable management? So we have so much hooked in here. The only thing left is the power supply, and we'll be able to route that additionally with them. So pretty clean. Pretty clean on the back. A lot of times it's just crazy. Alright, so I also didn't show the back, by the way. The I/O panel we installed. You can see all the USB ports, everything. You want to make sure that you don't let any of these metal springs go into your USB ports. It can cause some issues. I've done it by accident, but never had it short out, but it can. And look at that. Look at how clean that cable management is. Only wires you see are right down here going into the shroud. Very, very clean. And I'll tell you, a clean cable managed computer runs cooler. There's not all that stuff in there to block your airflow. Hey, Dad. Yes, Dad, you can comment. All right. Let's see. What are we on to now? Oh, man. To install this little annoying... I'm not going to install this speaker. I'm going to leave that out. I don't see a need to install that. We're going to go to... Let me drink the rest of my whiskey here. All right. Let's open up. Let's get the power supply in there. Actually, before we do the power supply, let's keep this thing as light as we can. I need to put this fan in there. I need to put that extra fan in. I want to get that wired up and wires hidden. So this is a cheap little Kingwin fan. It's nothing fancy. It's probably only like, I don't know, 1200, 900 RPM. What's the RPMs of this thing? Should tell us on the back. 950 RPM, which means it's dead silent. Won't make a whole bunch of noise that's going to piss everybody off, and while still, effectively giving passive cooling throughout the whole system, and that's what you want. For this one, it's not such a big deal because there's no, the video card is the biggest culprit when it comes to heating up the inside of your computer. Yeah, CPUs do it, but nothing really uses the CPU enough to heat up the whole square footage, if you will, of your case. So the GPUs, on the other hand, GPUs are cooled way more efficiently. They also run hotter. Their coolers are what's called direct on die. So if you saw there was that metal heat spreader on the processor, graphics cards don't have that. They're most often than not, it's directly a die that's very sensitive. That's dumping loads of heat directly into the cooler, and then the fans exhaust it chaotically right out into the case like a hurricane. So our GPU in this one does not run hot, but we're gonna run these anyway. So we need to pull off the front of this case, and unfortunately the only method to do this is brute force. That's how they work. So you grab a corner of it and start pulling. It's just the type of clips they use. Oh, there it is. All right. So now you can see, because I cable managed, I did this a little bit backwards. We cable managed in the back. So now we only have so much room to pull this front panel out. We have plenty, don't worry, but we only have so much room. So let's go ahead and building the two work computers. That's what we're doing today. Just decided to do one where everybody can see how easy it is to build a computer. Now, alright, so we are actually going to keep this on this side of the frame here, not on this side. There are little vents around to pull air in, but if it's too close, it'll be choked off by the front cover. We don't want that. We could also install it up on the top. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to put it right here. That'll cool the SSD. Yeah, that's straight pass-through. I like that. We're going to go with straight pass-through design. Find a fan header that's close. There's no fan header. That's not a problem. Not a problem at all. That's a complaint on this motherboard. There's no fan header. This motherboard only... No. There's no way it only has one header. It has to have one more somewhere. That's pretty crazy. Gigabyte, what are you doing? Let me... Hold on. No. Let's see. What do we got? There is no way they don't have an additional... Wow. So they only have, including the CPU fan header, this motherboard only has one additional. There's nothing hiding. Like, I'm not missing anything. No, it's not here. All right. Well, that's what a Molex connector is for, which means it will just run at full speed all the time. We won't be doing any fan controlling. We're not going to do that anyway, because 950 RPMs, you won't even hear it. So we're good there. You drunk already, Dad? Come on now. All right, let's go ahead and start getting these locked in here. Keep this cable down to the bottom left. Yeah, it'll drop right through here. We're good to go. Not yet. Yeah, me neither. I will be later. That's the plan anyway. So right now I'm just screwing the fan screws in there with minimal cable length allotted to me. Alright, now I am going to be honest, on these fans I only use 2 of the 4 screws. The only fans that I will use all 4 of these mounting screws on are high RPM fans, and we're talking 2,000 plus RPMs. I only have 1 of those in my cryogen computer. So, and radiator fans, of course. All right, there it is. Alright, fans installed. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. This one, so that's why I always test it out, because this fan, I can already tell, is going to vibrate without the 4 of them. So we're going to go ahead and do 4. Okay. Sorry, I lied. But yeah, that's a test. You can hear that noise just by tapping that fan. That will, at some point, at some time, start making hellacious vibrating sounds. Probably not right away while it's new, but let some dust build up on those blades and let them get off balance a little bit, and watch how much noise that makes. Hell no. That's one there. And the final one here. And now, when we tap this, look at how quiet that is. No more bang, 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 bang. Search PC gaming, or gaming PC ads. I wonder why it came up. Awesome, man. Welcome. That's weird that it would have come up for that. I didn't I don't think I didn't even tag this. I think I tagged this as man, what did I tag this at? Uh damn, I don't even remember the tag. I think I just put a custom PC and something else. Well, welcome to what? Yeah, so today I'm just I'm building a PC for my day job. My employer. They're it's basically a cash register PC. Um so yeah. The bill for each machine was about 505 US dollars. Dad says, won't get drunk until election night. I'm sure you're not the only one. Alright, let's see. What do we got here? Alright. Well, that's it. Let's see. We're going to dump this down. Let everybody see. We have motherboard completely hooked up. One intake fan, one exhaust fan for this. The system again is a Ryzen 3600X on a Gigabyte B450M DS3H motherboard. It's a mini ATX board, mini ATX case, which is a Thermaltake Versa 17, I believe. Yeah. We have a solid state drive. I think it's Inwin. Inwin? Inwin? What's in here? Inland. Yeah, Inland 256 gigabyte M.2. Yeah, and then we're about to install the video card, which is an amazingly slow um, 1 gigabyte DDR3 video card. It's literally just to get monitor image displayed. That's all we need it for. Um, so yeah, nice little workstation build. Pretty good. 8 gigabytes of RAM, more than enough for right now. And then when DDR5 becomes mainstream, we'll get another stick of DDR4 even cheaper, and that'll seal the deal. All right, everything looks good, guys. I think it's time to scoop this guy back. And let's see. Power supply. Let's get that going. Yeah. Power supply. I like to do video cards last. Don't ask me why. I just do. Alright. So, again, all parts bought from Microcenter. We have a power spec 500 watt power supply. Nothing fancy, but definitely overkill for a workstation. But I'll tell you, if there's any place you're going to overkill it on your computer, it should be graphics card and power supply. You can get by skimping out on literally anything else, and still have an excellent computer performance experience on that. See. At least they sleeve the cables, but they use like that. It's like that privacy fence here. This cable sleeving is like that privacy fence that's not really privacy because people be going up and sticking their eyeballs through the slots. I guess it's better than nothing, but it is what it is. Mine has the same thing. Actually, no, looking at mine are all black cables. So, but I have the 750 version of this. Big note on installing power supplies. These can have a crazy effect on how the temperature inside of your PC works. A lot of these power supplies now have, if you look, this is the fan right here. This is pulling air into it. It exhausts it out the side. So if we were to put this in the system down like, well, sorry, actually it would be down like this. We install it in. Air comes up through the bottom, shoots out the back right here, okay? This does not heat up or change the air flow, positive, negative pressure, nothing. It does not affect it at all. If you flip it upside down and you run it this way, you now have an extra exhaust fan. So like if you had, where this would be handy is like if you had a radiator here, let's say you built a really high-end PC or something, and you had enough intake, but you needed more exhaust somewhere on the back side. You have all these intakes on the front, and obviously you don't want them exhausting on the front because then you're creating a little vortex of hot air. You could run this upside down and it will pull the heat. Now again, it's only warm air. The components in this power supply are way hotter than the temperature inside of your case any day. So whether they get warm air from a graphics card, CPU, or air from outside, they're still going to be cool. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. So if you were to run it like this in a case that doesn't have a power supply shroud, it would create more vacuum and help exhaust some of that hot air. We're not going to have that issue. So in our case, this guy is going to go what we call right side up. And what this will do is the power supply is going to have its own independent, basically its own independent air. We don't need it. We have one fan exhausting, one fan intaking. So we're going to have a perfect medium there. We're good. And look at all these crazy cables. Oh my goodness. See, this is where people's cable management goes to hell when you put the power supply in. Am I going to get the new Ryzen next month for your PC? Oh, you know, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to get the new Ryzen. Here's why. It's a fantastic CPU. I've been watching all the reviews on it. It's my system right now, Cryogen, has a 2080 Ti graphics card and a Ryzen 7 3800X. They're matched pretty much dead even. So for me to go and put the new Ryzen 5000 series, which is what I believe you're talking about, I would gain no benefit from that. There's no reason for me to do that. So I won't upgrade anything in my computer probably until I decide to upgrade graphics card and all that stuff. My monitor is a 144 hertz 2K gaming PC monitor. So at 2K with a 2080 Ti 3800X, I've probably got 3 years before I can't run things at max graphics. We'll see. Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out. we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, no, I do not plan to get. If I buy one, it's just going to be to benchmark it, overclock it, and go from there. Um, so yeah, I'll be overclocking the 3600X that's in here. I have not overclocked one, so I will be overclocking this just to see what it does and get some data on it, and then it'll be going right back down to factory clocks for its daily work usage. But yeah, anybody in the market for a new CPU right now, gaming CPU specifically with that new Ryzen 5000, that's going to be insane. Like a very exciting time to be in the position to build a new computer. Okay. Alright, let's pull these back out. We did not need to shove all those in there yet. That's what's causing the issue. This is why modular power supplies are awesome. So in a modular power supply, all these wires you see right here, you would just plug them in. They have ports that are on there, and you just use what you need. It's awesome. But in this, we're going to have to hide all this, but that's why there's a power supply shroud. Alright, here's our power supply screws. Go ahead and get that mounted. But yeah, no, I have all of my computer parts are so perfectly equalized and matched. I really don't want to upgrade anything. It'll be years, most likely. Who knows? Most likely it'll be years. And then it'll be all new stuff. It'll be crazy. But we'll see. Never know. Let me turn this around here. I'm going to kind of do this left-handed. There's 4 screws here that hold the power supply in. They go this way into it. And I just started those by hand as to not cross-thread them. I know, cross-threaded bolt's a tight bolt, but no, 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 no. There we go. All right. Power spec power supply manual. That can go in the plastic filing cabinet there. We don't need that. Now. Okay, so we have what is a 24-pin power connector here. We have that ready to go. We need to get that separated. All right, that is now separate over here. Now next is the CPU 12-volt power. This looks like PCI Express. This is PCI Express. Where's CPU 12-volt power? This is CPU 12-volt power right here. And then all of our auxiliary powers. Those need to be separated. PCI Express, right? Yeah, PCI Express. Okay, so these two are the only power cables that plug into the motherboard here. This one goes to the right side of the motherboard. This one usually goes right above the CPU to power the VRMs directly. So we're going to leave these guys off to the side. We're going to pull these back through. No, we're not. So this guy, this is the 12 volt. Now the 12 volt plugs in on the motherboard. You can't really see it, but it plugs in. right up here on the motherboard. So what we're going to do now is run this wire right through the top. You'll see, right through the top here. And then let me turn this around. And you'll see, here's our wire. Here's our 8-pin power plug. So 2 4-pins is what it's going to use. So now we need to put those together. Find the hook, it's on the top usually, it is. Twist these straight around. Make them stay that way. And then I do a lot of these blind. Kind of have to. There's no way to see it. Come on now. That's taking too long. I'm doing something wrong. Now, realistically, you probably only need one of these to power this motherboard, and you would not have an issue. So if your power supply only had like one 4-pin, you just plug it in. You look at the motherboard manual, it would be like the far left or far right or something like that. And it would plug in and power just fine. The additional power is like for overclocking and stuff. Oh, that's why, guys. I'm plugging them in upside down. See? Here we go. Now we're going the right way. What I thought was the latch was not the latch. And that's 1 in and 2 in. See, when you plug them in the right way, they go so much easier. All right. Here we go. Tuck that in the back there. You can see the wire right here. All right, so here's another wire in, and again, look at how clean the inside of this computer case is. A lot of the wires will be hidden right down here in the shroud. So that's how we do it. The next one is our 20, it is 24 pins, right? Oh, 28 pin. Wow, look at me, I'm way off. Where's it at on the motherboard? Right there. So it's gonna shoot through. I look to see where the connector is. It's lined up right here. And then we got to manipulate this. So this has to make like a 180-degree bend. So you can actually take these wires, bend them. Oops. And that one just separated. We don't want that. I think we're using all of them. Stick that back in there. Take them and pinch it down like this. And then some people think that might break the wires. No, it's not. It's brand new. It'll hold that way, and then it won't stress it over time. Oh, hey, guess what? We went the wrong way again. This motherboard is backwards from the last one I built. There we go. So now we have that. Yeah, da-da. And reinforce the back of the motherboard here. Plug that in. There it is. All right, we're good to go. And now, look at that. Nice, clean 28-pin power connector straight out the back. Now we turn this around, and everything will go. So this is going to power. We just need a regular Molex connector. Most of these power supplies only have like one of these now, maybe two. This thing I think has like, man, it better have one. Oh shit. I got ways. Oh yeah, they're black. Okay. I was looking for a white connector, but now I don't have to worry about that. We just plug this in. Whoops, like that. Done. And then this can all hide. Now a lot of people, they just shove all this in the power supply shroud. I'm not going to do that. We're now done with all the power connections we're going to need. I'm pretty certain. So I like to wrap these up. There's no reason to leave them a mess just because they can't be seen. I feel like that could also cause issues. So here they are here. This is where these big old twist ties it came with comes in super handy. Do that. Twist it. Did I tell people? I probably mentioned it. I don't remember. Yeah, I've built servers, workstations. Yeah, all that good stuff. And there we go. So now instead of just shoving them all in there, if you look, you ever need to get to these wires, they come out in one solid piece. So these sit down there, and look at all this space in here. It's good. We still got to cable manage this. We're going to hook these together and probably put them about right here. That'll look pretty good with a zip tie. Yeah. And that's that. So when you look at it from the other side, you can tell the power supply is all in now. And our cable management here is pretty good. We don't have wires visible sticking around anywhere. They're clean looking, like the bend of this 28 pin is nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now, I think I used all the zip ties they gave me. So you know what we're gonna do? We'll use our last twisty tie and go right through this slot right here. These will be right up against that. And then twist them together. There it is. Then tuck these into the back and around. And that is cable managed. So, backside, super clean if anybody takes that off. You got the wad of extra cables if you need them, and they're twist tied, so they're not, nobody's having to cut zip ties and do anything. If they need to grab one like Molex connector, SATA power connector, something like that off of there, no problem. Grab it, retwist it, put it back in there. Easy to keep it clean. And then we look at the part where the most of the time is spent, and there you go. Completely clean. Yep. I like it. Alrighty. Let's see. We have it's video card time. So the video card we're doing is just the GeForce 210. I put this in all of my workstation computers that I build. Just because if you go with like the Ryzen G series CPUs, you're usually only getting like 4 cores, and I want these computers to last, you know, somewhere between 7 to 10 years, which they will for their purpose with the point of sale system that we use. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine for that long. And then when it's upgrade time, it'll be super cheap to do it. A couple $100 a system. So this is just to get, like I said, it's basically just to get some type of display on the monitor. Nothing crazy, but a good display card nonetheless. I don't really like to call it a graphics card, but it's a display card, and it's a decent one. Oh, oh, minimalist bracket. I like that. Forgot they came with that. Oh, another one. Okay, don't need anything in there. Oh, as I was telling you guys in the beginning, I don't know if you can see that. The electrostatic warning. Yeah, that's what I said. In this case, when you're building a computer, if you touch the side of it, um, really it kind of needs to be one that's on, but if you at least touch the metal inside the case right here, that's grounded, and you're usually discharged with that. But it's only grounded when it's plugged in, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. So here it is, the little GeForce 210. Nothing crazy. Perfect for the application. So always, always. Oh, we got to take off one of the brackets back here. Always install in your top PCI Express slot on the motherboard, the one closest to the CPU when you're installing a graphics card or display card. If you go into the bottom one, I mean, you could get away with it, but there's a lot of scenarios where that bottom one is meant, like if you're running like the older dual GPU technology, which means if you were actually using this for like performance photo rendering, graphics rendering, photo editing, and whatnot, and you plug into the bottom, you're running, that's usually a PCI Express 18 or 8X slot, whereas it should be running at 16. So the top one usually runs at 16. Would you notice a big difference? Probably not. But I'm sure it's a performance loss, even though minimal. Oops, I undid the wrong bracket. I'm sure it's minimal performance loss, but it's still a loss nonetheless. And we want all of our performances. Absolutely all of them. All right. So now it's the second one down. And this. Oh man, look at this. They even got an extra bracket on this thing. Damn. That thumb screw is not thumb tight. Oh, look at that. That's different. Slide it open to install a card. Lock it down. I don't understand that. I'm sure there's a reason why they have that. I've never seen that before, but we'll go with that. There it is, and boom, in. That's so weird to me. I've never seen a bracket sliding around like that, but okay. All right, that. It's like a anti-theft bracket. Whatever. I'm gonna lock it down, but whatever. All right, and it's not thumb tight like they didn't have it either. It's just as tight. All right. This computer is now fully assembled. I believe everything is done. So you can see this is the final build. Graphics cards in there. We got the memory, power supply, all the cables are clean. And that's that. And of course, again, on the back side, that's our cable management. Pretty good. So now, we will put on the rear panel, which I have right here. There it is. When they go on that easy, that's one of the perks of having good cable management. Absolutely is one of the perks. Now, we had dropped one screw down here in the beginning, and here it is. There we go. Now I won't be putting the other side panel on until we test this out. There it is. Not too bad at all. All right. Okay. Let's see. You see here. All right. Well, gonna take me a 10-minute break. We've been doing this a couple hours now. Take 10 minutes and then I'll be back and we're gonna see about getting this thing plugged up and see how it runs. Alrighty. All right, here we go. We are back. Oh man, peanut butter cookies are so damn good. Let me clean up some of this trash here. Some of this stuff we're not using. We don't need the motherboard box here anymore. We're done with that. It's gonna be a lot of cleanup here. All right, so yeah, computer's built. Should be good to go. I'm going to do something here that I haven't tried on this monitor yet. I'm gonna dual view the monitor. Let me see. This is gonna be a little bit tricky maybe. I haven't done this yet. I know it has the ability. I believe it does. First, let me hook up my power bar. It's time to crawl around on the floor. Let's see. Let's get some power going to this thing. Then we can see if we hooked everything up right. All right. Okay. So you would think I had all this set up before, but oh no. No, 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 no. That would have made sense. All right. Drop that down there. All right, let's see. All right, let me grab. I have a spare keyboard and mouse. Oh yeah, here's the keyboard. Stay. All right. Dig that out of the top of the closet. Alright. So. Ooh. Should still be good, but just noticed. Let me pull it over to this one here. Look at that. Doesn't look like any of the wires are damaged. Let's do this. And that one. And now we will need, what do we need here? This guy. Alright, let's see. This mouse is awesome. This is the old MX518 gaming mouse. Love this mouse. They made a new one. I want to get it. They like re-released it with a better optical sensor, better pads on it. All right. Not using that. Not using these. That stuff down there. Now, oh yeah, we have one last thing to do. This is going to be the tricky thing. I'm going to hook this into my monitor. I'm pretty sure this monitor has dual view. We'll find out. And yeah, all of that is on the other side. This will be nice to get to. Oh, have my headphones flipped up, didn't even realize it. My microphone. Alright, so I think everything's hooked up. Keyboard, mouse, power, good to go. No internet for this yet. Be doing that later. Let me see if we can get this dual view working here now. And let's go into that. Yes. Split window. Okay, that's not it. Let's go back. Oh, I see. Alright. I guess we gotta... Alright, we gotta turn it on first. So, we go. And that, of course, ain't the wrong way. Alright, let's hit the power button. Oops. Let's throw the jumper on the back. See what we get. No power. We don't have power. Alright. So it's not turning on, which means we have one of our little IOs. Alright, let's see. Let me see, what's that? Oh, the power strip wasn't turned on. We have power. And it's booting. Now I'm going to keep hitting delete. That's first things first, we need to hit BIOS. So keep doing that real quick. Actually, it might. I don't know, I can't see it. Let me try to get this working now. So what we can do. See. Yes. Let me see this way here. There it is. Alright. I couldn't get it to dual boot. Let me pull my phone up, make sure everything's still working. I can at least use this one to see it. Just want to make sure everything is working correctly here. And then actually I want to this way. Hopefully you can see what's on the screen doing it this way. I'll have to wait a second to see just how that looks. Back it up a little bit. we might be good now. Maybe not. We'll see in a second. Yeah, that'll work. All right. I think that'll work. So, you can see, insert proper boot media. Well, we're not doing that. Control-Delete to restart. Keep hitting delete. And it automatically changed my input, you ass. Alright, here we go. So now we're in the BIOS. Alright, here we go. In the BIOS settings. Now, so the first thing we want to do, voltages are fine. System. Okay, we're good there. Chipset. I'm missing something. Why are they not showing me? Why are they not showing me the... It's not good. Settings, DRAM 1.2, that's fine. Alright, 2133 is fine. We'll turn that up later. It's not showing me the temperature anywhere. I don't like that. What is... Oh, there we go. Now we're out of easy mode. That's what I wanted. Alright, so CPU 36C, that's cold. We're good. Okay. All is well. Alright. So we're good there. So now what we're going to do is a little flash drive here. We got to take this, plug it in, and we're going to boot to this drive. We'll put that in a USB 3.0 slot. Test that out, see if that works. Alright, let's so we're going to go back to classic. We need NVMe configuration. It's already good there. Picked it up. We're good. That's a great sign. Alright. We should now be able to save, exit setup. And in theory, should be able to boot automatically. Now this thing might try to go back to my screen. This is so messy. I need two monitors. Yep, definitely tried to. So here it goes. It automatically boots to Windows. Alright, activate Windows. I don't have a product key. We will be using Windows 10 Pro when we do this. When I get the key, when I get it to its location. And we're going to do a custom install. Alright, we're not going to create any partitions. It's going to do all of that automatically. So you can just hit next. And here we go. Now you're about to see just how fast Windows 10 installs on a M.2 solid state drive. And actually it's being hindered by the USB 3.0 speed. Like, or restart now. Change the input back. Damn it, I hate the button back here. There we go. Back to HDMI 1. We'll always pick DisplayPort over HDMI. Here we go again. And there we go, guys. Windows 10's installed. It's that fast. So, yeah. M.2 drives are fantastic. Yeah, that's the right keyboard. No, we're going to skip that. Nope, don't have internet. Connect with limited setup. I like how they put that out. This one will be at, and no password right off the bat. That'll happen later. Don't need that, don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. And don't need that. No. No. And there it is. Windows 10. Super fast. And what I'll do, the last thing I think we'll do on here is I'm just going to show a fresh restart. Which I'll have to change the input, but it'll probably be booted back up before I even get the input changed. Almost there. Oh man, look at that. There we go. That's a weird resolution, huh? Be like that until we get some drivers in there. There it is. Everything is instantaneous. Look at that. And yep, so far so good. Let's do this. Power, restart. And then when this changes, I'm going to try to change it back quickly. There we go. Input source. There we go. And there it is. It's booted up. We can open stuff. That's what an M.2 does for you. That fast. And that's without drivers or anything yet. Alright guys, that's it for this one. So, yeah. That was cool. That was a good build. Not bad at all.